Once you've finished your recording, you want to normalize your audio, usually to about minus 0.1 dB. Normalizing will take your audio and increase it in amplitude so the waveform gets bigger. This makes it easier on your eye to see what you're doing, especially when you're working in an advanced multi-track with lots of different waveforms all over the place. But it also makes your audio louder so that when you're processing it, you don't have to set those thresholds too low. Let me show you what I mean. So here's that perfectly recorded audio at around minus 6 dB in levels. The easiest way to do this is in the favorites menu. There is a favorites in Adobe Audition called normalize to minus 0.1 dB. Boom, done. There you go. The highest peak will go to minus 0.1 dB. Doesn't do anything else, doesn't compress, doesn't process your voice in any way. It just simply makes that voice louder. Okay, I'm going to undo that and I'm going to highlight all of this and I'm going to normalize this section to minus 0.1 dB. And again, you can see, it didn't go too loud. Why is that? That's probably because there is a rogue peak somewhere in here that it's looking at. So often you get that. If I normalize a smaller section like this, you should see this all raises up nicely to minus 0.1 dB, but it's not. Why is that? That is bizarre. Let's try another section. Favorites normalized to minus 0.1 dB, and that section does. So somewhere around here, there is a rogue peak that's stopping this audio being normalized to the usual level of minus 0.1 dB. Let me show you another example. If I select everything, it's going to find the biggest peak, which is probably around here. Favorites normalized to minus 0.1 dB, and you see that one hits minus 0.1 dB, but the rest does not. And the way you can find where those rogue peaks are, so let's go in. Sometimes this is a problem. You're trying to normalize and say, well, that's not going to minus 0.1 dB, but that is. That's interesting. And let's have a look at this section. That's going to minus 0.1 dB. Yes, there's a rogue peak here. You see, that's the one that's hitting minus 0.1 dB. If you really need that pointed out to you, though, you can go into the window menu here and go to Amplitude Statistics, and you can scan the selection, and it will show you that the peak amplitude, certainly on the left channel, is at minus 0.1 dB, exactly what we asked for. If we click this little icon here, it will give you your playhead exactly where the biggest peak is. So you can zoom right in and see that big peak right there. It's really, really handy stuff. Undo that. If I want to find the biggest peak in the whole audio file, I can select it all, scan the selection, and again, biggest peak is at minus 1.89 dB on the left channel, which is right about there. Jump the playhead there, and that is the biggest peak in the whole audio recording. So just a few pro tips there for normalizing your audio. Definitely something I recommend doing before moving on to the next steps in your audio production process.